Severance is a TV show that's filled with a lot of cryptic mysteries, but one of the most intriguing aspects of Lumon Industries is the Macrodata Refinement files, seemingly meaningless documents that the refiners spend their days organizing. We know these files are important, extremely important, but the show never truly tells us why.
The work is mysterious and important.
And the work is mysterious and important.
We know that our heroes refine numbers on a certain files that is being assigned to them by their superiors, and so far, after 2 seasons, we have 29 files. We have Cold Harbor, Bellingham, Allentown, Cairns, Coleman, Culpeper, Drainsville, Yakima, Cielo, Sunset Park, Tumwater, Jessup, Kingsport, Labrador, Le Mars, Long Branch, Minsk, Moonbeam, Nanning, Narva, Ocula, Pacoima, Siena, Astoria, Chicxulub, Eminence, Tanan, Santa Mira, and Waynesboro. At first glance, these names seem completely unrelated. They reference cities, battlefields, and even an apocalyptic asteroid impact, but nothing in Severance is random. There must be a connection between these names and Lumon's larger purpose of Remedium Hominibus, cure for humanity,
which I do believe will one day save this world.
In this video, we will break down each of these names, find connections, and theorize what these files really mean. We will discuss war, Liberty Bell, sink ships, and even alien civilization, but we have to start with Egan lore. If we want to understand MDR files, we must understand Kier Egan, the mythologized godlike founder of Lumon Industries. According to Lumon's official history, Kier Egan was born in 1841, and in his 20s, Kier served as a military doctor. During this time, he developed his own medical salves, which became the foundation of Lumon Industries, and in 1865, Kier founded Lumon and served as its CEO for 74 years. This is incredibly significant because in 1865 is a very important year in American history, since it was the year the American Civil War ended. Now, if Kier Egan was a military doctor during this period, it means he witnessed firsthand one of the bloodiest conflicts in American history. It's likely that his experience in the war shaped his philosophy and possibly the entire foundation of Lumon Industries.
Should you tame the tempers as I did mine, then the world shall become but your appendage.
If the history is actually telling us that he founded Lumon Industries in the end of Civil War, you can clearly see here a connection between those two events. So probably everything that he has seen during this war somehow influenced him and made him open this company. Now, there's always a possibility that we just don't know yet many of his mythological stories, and maybe those file names are just taken from there. Similar like companies right now taking the name of Cerberus, Ajax, or anything else that is somehow related to Greek, Egyptian, or something else mythology. But come on, we have to dig way deeper than that. One of the main MDR files is called Cold Harbor. This file in Season 2 became a character of his own merit, and if we look at it from the Civil War angle, Cold Harbor wasn't just any battle, it was one of the bloodiest and most horrifying battles. What makes Cold Harbor so horrifying was that thousands of Union soldiers were ordered into a suicidal frontal assault against entrenched Confederate forces. The attack was a disaster. Many Union soldiers were killed within minutes. Union losses were between 12 to 15,000 men in this battle, when Confederate losses were around 1,000 to 2,000 people. So in Severance mythology lore, is it possible that Kier Egan was a part of this battle? Maybe he was a doctor there? As a military doctor, did he maybe also experiment on the soldiers? Maybe he was taking their bodies somewhere where he can conduct different type of experiments on them. But as you can probably guess, there are way more connections to the Civil War period in the MDR files. We have Drainsville, for example, and the Battle of Drainsville occurred on December 20, 1861 in Fairfax County, County, Virginia. This early Civil War skirmish saw Union forces under Brigadier General Edward Ord confront Confederate troops led by Brigadier General J.E.B. Stuart. The engagement resulted in a strategic victory for the Union, boosting morale during the early stages of the war. We also have the Culpeper. Maybe a connection to the Culpeper, Virginia, just with the 2 P's and not 3. This was a key site in Virginia during the war. The Battle of Culpeper Courthouse was an American Civil War skirmish fought on September 13, 1864 between the cavalry of the Union Army of the Potomac and that of the Confederate Army of the Northern Virginia. The Union victory opened up the Culpeper region to federal control, a prelude to the subsequent Bristol campaign. Now there's also, of course, Waynesboro, 1865, fought on March the 2nd. The Battle of Waynesboro in Virginia was one of the concluding battles of the Civil War. Union forces under Major General Philip Sheridan defeated Lieutenant General Jubal Early's Confederate troops, effectively ending Confederate resistance in the Shenandoah Valley. So Waynesboro is in Virginia, Culpeper is in Virginia, Drainsville is in Virginia. What about Cold Harbor? You guessed it, also in Virginia. So there is another connection here. All of these were battles in or near Virginia, which leads me to a conclusion that this is probably where Kier Egan would have likely served as a military doctor. This strongly suggests that Lumon's files tie back to the Civil War, its soldiers, and possibly early experiments on human minds. There's also the Battle of Kingsport, Union forces under General George Stoneman, numbering approximately 5,500 troops, confronted about 300 Confederate soldiers led by Colonel Richard Morgan. Despite being heavily outnumbered, the Confederate forces attempted to defend the town, but were ultimately defeated, resulting in Union control on the area. Not really Virginia, but still once again a battle, and once again a Civil War battle. Now there's also, of course, the Allentown file, a place where American forces hid the Liberty Bell from the British, which is not a civil war, but it's still connected somehow to American history.
Bong. Bong. We licked the Liberty Bell. And you know what it tastes like? Freedom.
And also there's the town of Eminence, that during the Civil War this area experienced significant turmoil, with guerrilla bands frequently skirmishing in the region. The regional town was eventually burned during the conflict, leading to its relocation and reconstruction after the war. So there are also other battles and conflicts in the MDR files. Now the Civil War is obviously not the only historical conflict in human history. We have the Battle of Minsk, the capital of Belarus. It's experienced extensive military action during World War II. The city was occupied by German forces from 1941 to 1944, during which it suffered significant destruction. The Battle of Minsk in 1944 was a decisive Soviet offensive that led to the liberation of the city and the encirclement of a large number of German troops. There is also Narva, which was also a battle in the World War II, in which the German Army Detachment Narva and the Soviet Leningrad Front fought for the possession of the strategically important Narva. By the way, this is not the only Battle of Narva. There was also the Battle of 1918 and also the Battle of 1700, but the latter was BK, before Kier. Praise Kier. So I kinda disregarded. Now there's also the Tan An. This is the Vietnam War. It's located in the Mekong Delta region of Vietnam. It was strategically significant during the Vietnam War. The area witnessed numerous military operations and engagement from both North and the South Vietnamese forces. And there is also the Astoria, the USS Astoria CA-34. Commissioned in 1934, the USS Astoria participated in the battles of the Coral Sea and Midway, providing crucial support during these significant confrontations. Tragically, on August 9, 1942, during the Battle of Savo Island near Guadalcanal, the Astoria was heavily damaged by Japanese naval forces and subsequently sank, resulting in the loss of 246 crew members and wounding 202 others. So once again, we also have the theme of the shipwreck. We talked about Edmund Fitzgerald in my previous video. We talked also about, the HarperCollins magazine with its images of Alexei, who was also an admiral of Russian Navy. So there is also this theme of ships and the loss of life on the sea. Now we also have the Battle of Nanning. In November 1939, the Japanese landed on the coast of Guangxi and captured Nanning. In this battle, the Japanese successfully cut off Chongqing from the ocean, effectively severing foreign aid to China's war effort by the sea, again rendering Indochina the Burma Road and the hump the only ways to send aid to China. There's also the Yakima War from 1855 to 1858, also known as the Yakima Indian War. That was a significant conflict between the United States and the Yakama Nation, along with their tribal allies in the Washington Territory. This war was primarily fueled by tensions over land rights. So once again, a theme of the loss of life. Now at this point it feels like Lumon and MDR are refining some information from military databases, or maybe some historical databases, or maybe, as I told you, something that only relates to Kier Egan history and his mythology, even though we discussed also the World War II period where Kier Egan was already dead. So far, I think the most prevalent theme is the loss of human life. Like almost every event or every location we discussed right now somehow connects to a big loss of life. But this is obviously not all of the files. We have the Chicxulub crater, which is buried beneath the Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. It's spanning approximately 150 kilometers in diameter and 20 kilometers in depth. It marks the impact site of a massive asteroid that collided with Earth around 66 million years ago. This event is widely believed to have triggered the mass extinction that wiped approximately 75% of Earth species, including all non-avian dinosaurs. Now we also have the Santa Mira file. This is a fictional town from Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which can lead to some alien theories. Somehow every Mystery Box TV show ends with the alien theories. No matter what you're watching, Dark, Lost, From, someone will have a theory about aliens, and it can be also very convincing at some points. Usually I'm not a fan. But we also have the Moonbeam. It's kind of poetic, a kind of celestial name. Maybe it's tied somehow to Lumon's vision of enlightenment, or it's just a very small town in Canada. There's also the Labrador, also a region in Canada. Maybe, Kier Egan during his travels visited Canada or something like this. There's also the Coleman, which is also located in Canada. And there's also Cielo or Cielo, which means sky or heaven in Spanish, possibly alluding to Lumon's philosophy of transcendence, of, immortal life and the life after death. There's also the Sunset Park, which is an area in Yorktown. There's Tumwater, Jessup and Le Mars that maybe have some relations to the expansion of United States through the railroad, and it can also be attributed to a huge human loss since a lot of life was sacrificed for this railroad to be built. Yet some of the names like Cairns, which is a place in Australia, or maybe Ocula that has something to do with the eyes, but no Civil War, no wars, no Virginia or any other theme we discussed. Pacoima and Siena also don't really connect to anything. So if the MDR files are connected, then Lumon may be studying war, extinction, human consciousness, and the afterlife.
Will be remembered as one of the greatest moments in the history of this planet.
Look, at some point we're gonna have to look at all of those files with clear eyes and maybe accept that there is no big meaning there. I want to think that there is. I hope that there is. This is why we gather here. We don't really want to accept something just because it's there, just because they like the name or because this is somehow important to them, but not really important to the story. When I'm saying them, I'm talking about the creators. I'm holding my fingers and I hope that there is a big, very interesting, very cathartic meaning that's gonna be revealed to us at some point. But once again, when you have files like Santa Mira, which is a fictional town, when you have something like Ocula that just sounds maybe like some kind of a high-tech company and it's not really connected to all of the other names, then you have to ask yourself a question. Is there a big meaning there? As I told you, I hope there is. I hope it's all connected somehow to Kier Egan, to his travels, to his history, to his mythology, and to his philosophy. And this is why they use those names in order to honor him, and hopefully all those names and titles actually connect to the whole MDR process, to why they're actually refining those numbers, and why Gemma's file for some reason is called Cold Harbor. I mean, after watching this video, we could probably assume that Cold Harbor was a place that maybe Kier Egan took some bodies, they put them in the refrigerator and now they want to bring them back to life. But then again, why is it connected to Gemma? Why is it connected to Mark? So there is still so much place and so much time for speculation, so for different theories, and I would love to hear yours. Hopefully in a couple of days we're gonna see another episode and it's gonna give us even more information, but meanwhile, let's keep this community live and kicking and talk about this topic. I'm waiting for your comments, and as usual I want to thank everyone who supports me on Patreon and on YouTube. I want to welcome 2 new members. We have Cassandra as a champion join our small community, and we have Lenka Kolenka as a beacon of light. Thank you so much for joining this small but awesome community. I appreciate your support. It makes me motivated. It makes those videos for you. This is one of the biggest reasons why I keep doing this, because you support me and you believe in me, and I will do whatever I can to never disappoint and never to lose your trust. So thank you so much, and hopefully I'm gonna see you on the next video. Meanwhile, bye!